Riot já tá com dash ativo, leva mais tenta fazer o estrago aqui pra cima de mais jogadores, e a galera vai dando a chance pra ele brilhar! Aspa! Brilha mais uma vez!
Now, when you think of classic rivalries, what comes to mind? Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, Yankees and Red Sox, Tom Brady in retirement. And there's, of course, another to add to the pantheon. It's, of course, Loud and NRG. Finesse versus Sadat. Of course, the El Clasico. Or El Clasico. The El Clasico is wrong. Now, it all started last April at Masters Reykjavik 2022. Two dominant teams, one from North America, one from Brazil, meet for the first time in the upper bracket final. The unbeaten Loud wins and sends Optic to the lower bracket, but Optic claws their way back to a score of 3-0 in the grand final, handing Loud the team's first ever loss. Then we move forward to July 2022. It's Masters Copenhagen, and of course, the stage is set once again for these teams to clash, but not in a way that anyone had expected. You see, because shockingly, both Loud and Optic lose their opening matches. Loud faces their second loss ever at the hands of Crew, and Optic gets 2-0'd by Guild. The teams now have to face each other in an early elimination match. Optic scores a 2-1 victory and gives Loud their third ever loss. The Green Wall ultimately falls to Paper X and has to settle for a third place finish. Then we move on to September of 2022. It's Optic and Loud, and they're destined to meet once again, this time at Champions Istanbul, and it's early in the competition. Now, they face off in the group stage winners bracket, and Optic gives Loud their fourth recorded loss, but Loud bounces back and meets Optic once again, this time in the upper bracket final for revenge. Loud forces Optic to make a lower bracket run. Finesse pushes through and brings the squad to the grand finals for a third match in the same tournament. In the end, though, Loud secures a 3-1 victory and wins their first ever championship. But now we move on to 2023, and everything has changed. Loud, Sasi, and Pinkata have ended up joining the Sentinels, as we just saw. Coach Bazooka's over at MIBR. Tui's and Kalanzine have also joined Loud, and Finesse, Victor, and Crashies are now with NRG, along with Artis as well as Sam. And despite the changes, the cores of these teams are intact, and fate puts them together in the same bracket at LAC in Sao Paulo in Brazil. In this single elimination tournament, it's do or die when Loud and NRG meet in the quarterfinals. Loud scores a 2-0 win and ends NRG's run and makes it to the finals. There, Fnatic mounts a legendary comeback and wins the series 3-2, handing Loud their fifth ever loss. And that brings us to today. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to VCT Americas and today's match between Loud and NRG, the eighth one for these cores. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, joined by Sideshow and Benita, and now I can finally stop talking, Josh.
And what a game we've got. I mean, if that history doesn't sell you, some of the highlights really would. These games have been fabulous. They've been at the core. The rivalry has really defined, in some ways, the history of VALORANT.
Yeah. Not only are the players absolutely legendary, but these two coaches, Chet and Fraud, really great coaches with a lot of impact.
Yeah. You have a lot of experience on that stage across the board. The matches are going to be solid. It's going to be awesome. Of course, so when you think about how this is going to play out, Josh, and you look at the history of this team, you know, it's really just been a neck-and-neck journey for both of them, really up until lock-in there.
Yeah.
And I do feel like both of these teams went through their own individual journeys. For Loud, having to move from Brazil, come to LA, and still maintain the dominance that everyone expects them to. And then NRG, new players, trying new things. It's been a bit of a wild season for them as well.
It definitely has. I mean, things were absolutely dead even. You could not decide between them until it got to that lock-in game. And the NRG even had 3 match points, but weren't able to convert there. And since then, they've gone in slightly different scenarios, with NRG having a rockier start to the Americas split, but actually they're back in a situation where it looks like this game's going to be a banger again.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. This could be a match where Loud, because Loud is sitting, top pretty, and they might just be cruising it. They don't have to show anything new. They can just play to their comfort and probably squeak by a win.
Yeah, and you want that calm demeanor for this one. And actually, let's talk about the last time that these teams met at lock-in, right? Now, of course, this was the first time that these teams actually collided in their current form, but Sadak actually said that the game nearly brought him to tears, and the quote is, "It broke my mind. I started crying on the second map. I didn't know what else I could do. If you pay attention, you'll notice. We did something different each round, but it was so hard." And that is... That's a lot. We oftentimes forget the pressure that these young players find themselves in, these unrealistic situations that they somehow have to make sense of. And Sadak, time and time again, has proven to be one of the best in the world.
He absolutely is. The battle of the IGLs in this game is so incredible, and the push and pull between them.
Yeah.
The way in which they challenge each other and find opportunities to outplay each other, and the stress that that puts upon them mentally too. I mean, Sadak talking about it here, it just brings to mind the stress that he was under and the relief that he must have felt upon winning the game.
Yeah, I think both these IGLs have created such a great foundation and like support system within the team, and everyone just has so much trust in each other that it just really shows when they're playing.
Yeah, and I mean, again, and you mentioned it, right? You have Fraud and Chet. They're a big part of the reason why that the chemistry, the camaraderie exists between these two squads. But you see, the thing that's interesting about this is that Cowanzine really put the dagger in the heart there, right? In what we saw earlier, like this, I think is what you have to be cautious of if you're NRG. You can't allow this player to just do that.
That situation, absolutely unbelievable. Everything was set up there for NRG to be able to win. And like I said, they had 3 match points over the course of that match. This is against Loud, the team that ended up going toe-to-toe with Fnatic towards the end. The gap between those top teams in the world at lock-in was close, despite the fact that Fnatic ran away with it in the end. And I mean, of course it's going to weigh heavy on Finesse's mind. A situation like that, where it's a 3v2 and Cowanzine's able to pick up so many kills at 12-11, it's just small things that make all the difference in terms of history.
Yeah, this tweet is just really heartbreaking. I do think at such high pressure environments, like moments like these, it really is like those really, really, really minor details that will cost you.
Yeah, and you know, as we always say, the devil's always going to be in the details, and both of these teams, and most importantly, both of these IGLs know that better than anyone else, and that's part of the reason why they're the top of the game right now, Sideshow. When we think about premier in-game leaders in esports, if your mind doesn't care what game you cover, if your mind doesn't immediately go to at least one of these guys, Finesse or Sadak, you're doing it wrong, because they just... It's like watching magic happen in real time. Like, they call so beautifully.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And in terms of the history of Valorant before we got into the partnership system, these two are absolutely up at the top.
Yeah.
There's Angel from EMEA.
Of course.
And now there's Boaster, now that he's got this super team around him as well, and he can really call to the top limits of his abilities. But to be honest, these guys are as good as anybody else.
Yeah.
The kind of calling that you get from Finesse when he's pulling out these masterclass fakes on Haven in particular. I know you're a fan of that, Benita.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. There's, in my opinion, no IGL that thrives as well as FNS. He like submerges into the role and loves it so much, and he just shines.
Yeah, and you need that. You need that, especially when you need a leader in the server that's going to be confident, make the calls, and you know you're always going to get it from both Sadak as well as Finesse. But for more on this matchup, let's actually go ahead and hear from the two captains. Check it out.
Próximo jogo nosso, vamos jogar contra NRG. Vai ser jogo, como sempre, muito intenso.
There was a clear rivalry last year between the Optic Core and Loud, so it makes sense why people are so excited from it, and also just the fact that in lock-in we had such a good series, which could have gone either way.
Sempre estão tentando achar uma coisa nova, uma tática nova, uma estratégia nova, avançar, momentos inesperados. Então, sempre é como essa sensação de que você está lutando o tempo todo, e é muito legal. É essa sensação que eu gosto muito quando eu estou competindo.
It's the same feeling. The close games are just the most intense, and you kind of feel very in tune with. They bring the best out of us, and I think we do the same for them, and I think that's what makes our games so interesting.
Eu acho que cada vez que eu jogo contra a FNS é realmente muito divertido, porque O cara, ele sabe como gosto de arcades e eu sei como ele gosta de arcades. Já hemos jogado melhor de 5 contra ele, já hemos jogado melhor de 3 e é muito cansativo, é muito emocionante. Eu realmente desfruto muito porque sempre me leva para o meu limite, que é o que eu quero sempre, para poder continuar melhorando.
It doesn't matter if it was going to be loud, it was going to be crew, it doesn't make a difference. It comes down to we just have to continue winning and make playoffs.
For NRG, it's about keeping the dream alive. And for Loud, it's just another day in the office. It's NRG versus Loud. The epic saga continues, and we're jumping right into this one here as the players are huddling up and getting ready to go. And Benita, you can feel the big fight energy of this matchup, considering what is at stake here, especially for NRG.
Yeah, I mean, I think these map vetoes are going to be really crucial to how the BO3 is going to go.
Yeah.
We saw.
I don't think Gandhi said that, by the way. Not too sure, but that's just,
Not a historically accurate quote.
yeah, I'm a bit of a history buff myself. Didn't really find that one in the textbook.
We've seen NRG struggle on Split, so if Split comes through, I'm really curious to see what they have cooked up.
I'm also really interested to see Bind. NRG have been playing Bind. They got pushed by Furia there. Are Loud going to showcase this? Normally, these two teams, when they clash on Bind, it's historic. It's incredible. Loud are about the only team in the world that have been able to go toe-to-toe with NRG.
Yeah.
NRG have historically been like the best in the world for a long time while this map was pickable. And usually Loud have a permaban of Fracture.
Yeah.
So in theory, Bind should be there. Like, we should be able to see that, and that would be an awesome clash.
I agree. I would really like to see that because I think it also just showcases, personally for me, maps like Bind and Haven, the OG maps in the game, just showcase your ability to just call, understand, mid-round, do the cool stuff.
Haven
Because
is the best map for that.
hell yeah, it's so fun to watch it happen in real time. So I really do hope we end up getting Bind. And speaking of, here's map select.
I mean, God, if we don't get Haven 2, we will have been robbed as viewers.
No, the humanity.
But this is interesting. So Loud normally permaban Fracture. They ban Fracture against every other opponent, but they've locked in their spot up towards the top. And that to me says they are hiding strats on Bind for playoffs. Right? This isn't necessarily because they're scared of NRG, although that might be part of it.
That could be it too. You didn't prep it, you don't want to play them.
Absolutely could be part of it, but I think it might be more to do with the fact that they're hiding it for playoffs.
Yeah, they don't have to do. Loud does not have to do anything cheeky here.
Pearl's going to get picked as well, and I agree with you. They can kind of just, it's like, as I said, play your game plan.
Yeah.
What else do Loud have to do here? They just do the thing that they've been doing all season long. This is truly another day in the office. The onus, the pressure, everything is on NRG, Josh.
That is absolutely true. NRG need this win in order to secure their playoff chances. But I think the way that they played the map veto is a little bizarre here. They've gone towards Pearl, that has been a map that Loud have had hiccups on, for sure. They lost it to Crew, they lost it as well to Sentinels too, but not picking Fracture. When Loud's permaban is Fracture, is keeping things in terms of VOD prep, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go into the unknown, even if it might be weak for Loud.
Yeah.
So instead, we're going to get maps where both teams have looked a bit shaky to start off, and then both teams have looked incredible.
This felt like mind games. This map veto felt like mind games.
Could be.
Top to bottom, I think both teams were just really not trying to show much, but for NRG, they're just trying to manipulate this to go into at least a favorable map advantage for them. I don't think that that necessarily has occurred. I don't think that there's a favorable map advantage against Loud, period. But, and this is a big one though, NRG might have lucked out with this draft if they go to Haven.
I mean, we have seen one of the undefeated teams lose in Pacific.
Yep.
DRX were cruising through at the same kind of rate the Loud were, and recently they lost.
I know.
They made a substitute as well, went back to the old roster.
Who did they lose to?
They stumbled.
Oh,
Listen, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. but it was not an all-time banger kind of match.
Yeah.
Loud might be in the same kind of spot where they don't have to go 100% right now. NRG might get a slightly easier game, but to me, the rivalry between these two teams and these two leaders is going to force them to actually give their all.
Oh, of course.
Loud are not going to allow this to be easy.
Of course, yeah. I think Aspas, especially on split, he's one you have to shut down or else it's going to look real scary.
We've got a double duelist mirror happening here. Is that what I just saw as well? Okay, Artis is on Jet, Victor on Raze.
Okay, well, this is it, folks. It's time to kick off El Clásico and send it over to your casters, two of my favorite people. It's Van Silly and Rivington.
Thank you so much, GB and the desk. And Riv, with what was coined the ultimate showdown at Lock-In is now the ultimate showdown that continues here in the Riot Games Arena.
Wow.
You know what's more important than two Titan teams battling here in the arena? It's a full packed house right now here in LA, and they're ready to face things off to witness what we're about to see here on Split.
Riot Studios definitely seeing a few El Clasicos in its time, and now another one to grace us here. And like the desk said, Split, very interesting to see here.
Yes.
The last time we saw this matchup, it was Artis on a KO, but it was 13-3 for Loud.
Exactly.
Oh
exactly.
my God, so NRG obviously switching things up. They haven't lost a game since they said we're going back to comfort picks after that Cloud9 loss. 3 straight wins in a row. Can they keep going? Can they lock themselves a playoff spot here? They're going to be straight towards B for Spikes down though, so this is a touch and go, push and pull. Victor with 2.
And that's
Frenzy.
a double duelist coming out for NRG. Artis switching over from Wolf and Killjoy into this, getting a third one into the map. And NRG comes out strong. Already 2 players only alive for Loud. Tui's looking to get some flank, but Som's already anchoring, watching those rotates. We're sending a message to start things off. Less stuck in spawn on a 5 versus 1. Flash to get the information to peek out, and Victor even swings on it. A flawless round as NRG and Loud in this matchup here, Riv. Like I said, it feels like both of these teams want to send out a message because we're also playing Split. NRG comes out with a different comp as well. They want to mirror against Loud and bring out the same firepower in terms of the agent composition.
That's one of my favorite things, right? Now it comes down to how much can they really stress each other. They said in that video that they make each other better. They bring out the best in each other. So here to get a mirror comp is even cooler after hearing that. Bulldogs around, and you got the Hero Vandal on Artis. So they're actually going for a pretty deep buy here. Those frenzies used so well with the numbers that they had to make sure they could drop members on the way into site. And now they set up for this lurk almost all the way up ramp. See what they can find out about A site, and they can start to work the spike wherever they want. Good heaven control right now for Loud, and I think that's what NRG wants to find. How many members can they get here to push over? And actually, Loud's already rotating away.
Yeah, this is what I like. You're staying very active around the map here for Loud.
What a call.
Kautzine got spotted at the elbow, already rotating towards the B side. Meanwhile, Loud always had this 4-player pressure up towards mid for these fast rotates because you do have the lower weaponry. A full eco coming out on the Brazilian side. And NRG recognizes that. They don't want to walk into any trap plays using that utility to find that information. A second player in their eyes was found, right? That Trailblazer seeing less falling back into the vents. But still, NRG does not want to engage it into any of these sites.
Yeah, they're going to run the time down, ensure that one site, or gamble to one site, that it's going to have less numbers of Loud and Swarm. You can already see the spike heading back now. This is that time Finesse was talking about. Give everyone on the team time, especially him, to make sure the strat is the right one. Right into A. They have no defense from Loud to fight with. And this will be an easy plant, safe spot, so they can just set up for the post plan here.
Yep. Gamble stack here for Loud going out, and a retake is going to be even harder. Aspas only has a shorter to work with for the retake, but, you know, Aspas could definitely do magical things. Do some damage if they can. All of them grouping up. try to pepper down NRG, who are coming out with strong rifles into the round. Artis with a Vandal, couple of Bulldogs, and using those at the long distance range, all the way back from site. Loud slowly closing in, and even from the looks of it, they really want to try to maintain energy inside the A site. Big flank coming up towards the spawn, and that's going to be Tui's connecting onto Victor. So that's the first weapon down, traded back by Som. And here is that man with the shorty, close range. And a second shot does not connect, gets picked off, and things could be clean enough for NRG as they'll pick up the second round.
Really neat how NRG started to backpedal out of the site once they knew that if a Roomba came, or a Boombot came through, if Kawenzin's utility came through, it could get a little stressful.
Yeah.
They don't let any of that happen, are able to backpedal and get the frags on the way out. So what will the bonus round hold for us? Quite a few. I don't say quite a few. We do have a rebuy on Victor, so a little bit of money being spent there. But this turnaround for a bonus would be huge. Loud probably going to push up a little bit here towards mid as we see 2 and Vent. They've been playing that from the mailroom side here, and they're actually hovering towards the A side of the map just for this full pressure. 5 for NRG. Still waiting to see if Victor's going to be the blast pack forward or if Artis is really the front of these strategies. And it looks like Artis is getting that first pick with Victor over the shoulder. This is the same as the last strat, just quicker.
As soon as the toxic screen comes down on the attack, NRG moves into the A side. Battle here towards the back of the map. The crossfire is set up for a trade from either end. But Sadzak still pushing through inside. There's a fight up towards the A ramp. Finesse trying to find the timing. Cuts across, but Les stops him. There's only one player left. And it's going to be Som. Also falling from Tui's. And yes, the bonus not converted for NRG. They've done some damage, but Loud definitely answered back very strong in their gun round.
I feel like Loud had an inkling that this group of 3, at least for NRG, has kind of been sourcing info all the time towards that right side of the map. 2 in Vent for Loud, 2 towards site for Loud, and they're able to just block off NRG when they do finally get the hit. So really nicely called on what they've been seeing from NRG to get that bonus round in Loud's favor. And now we have the guns to come out. A little bit of low armor for Loud here. No real ultimates to come up just yet, but they go back to what was the second round play when Loud was on their low buy. So this looks like the play that allows Finesse to get the time he needs to organize the strat. No real mid pressure. They would let Loud take mid. They would let Loud take garage, right? Oh, crash. He's not letting that happen. So they're actually seeing if Loud will move first.
Move first, they did. One of them got punished right away, and that was Aspas. Meanwhile, though, you've seen the early rounds for NRG, always putting Artis very quickly up the control on the A ramp.
Yeah.
Giving him that responsibility to do that battle long range into the control of A heaven. If not, watch for the rotates across. That Trailblazer is finally going to spot him. That's going to make him fall back while NRG are still taking time for the hit. Stars are finally coming down onto the A site. And Artis dashes in, realizes now that we have an open A site. But is the plant going to be safe?
Poison's on. I've dropped the spike.
Given here to Victor so he could actually charge up onto the showstopper. It's planted at what could now be a new default spot into the A site.
Yeah, a little safer when you don't know heaven's clear. A lot of utility to be chucked into the site, and it not going to do much. That doesn't even hit behind screen or TV.
Even a Nebula was used, so a lot of utility used by Loud just to try to clear in the back of the map. So less to move into the site. As Victor comes into contact, falls back into the site, and this is such a patient game from NRG. The protocols just run that clock down, keep it in their favor, but we are pinching in for Loud.
Look at that,
double stack up to the elbow, and Finesse gets the kill of the Kawazine, and you can definitely see it here. The clock's running down. We're not going to it for Loud. NRG's got to get another round.
Absolutely. And looking at this, the question is now, Vans, what stops Artis dashing into the site? What stops Victor from following after? A little easier that time as Crashy's opened up on Aspas, not something we see very often. It's Aspas getting that first kill the majority of the time. But this has been a rinse and repeat here for NRG towards A, and we've seen that as the double duelist comp has come back into the meta a little bit more. Teams are still having trouble wanting to defend the site, but wanting to be in the site when both jump in and defending it after the fact. So NRG is doing a really great job at just kind of sticking their foot in the door before Loud can even get back in. A lot of stars towards mid this time. We may see a little more action there, but the 3-2, again, this default play, not default play, but this play coming out of NRG round after round, and they're getting a little more aggression from Aspas on ramp this time.
It's exactly their own default there to take the pressure. A nice little flash hook comes out, an assist from Crashies as Artist looking to connect up to the second one. Going head-to-head against Sadak, but then loses it here. A 4v4, but NRG pulls back from that. As Loud already rotated 2 players towards the A site. B site's open for now. But still the patient game. You see now in the POV of Finesse also what he's calling. Try to rotate players across on the mid control and maybe have a late lurk towards the A ramp. But Loud still not biting any type of rotations.
I'm watching Finesse right here. A great guiding light over the top of the coffee house. And Laos is going to make that quick work out of vent.
The satchel to break the crosshair placement, but Tui's is still up there. It's a 2 for 2. Ends up to be an even tally as Victor is going to advance into the site by himself. Again, activating a very late lurk by Finesse. Trying to catch the timing on a rotate of Kawadzin.
He hears.
Exactly. But now we're in a perfect spot for Victor. Still has the paint shells. It's planted for them towards the garage. Also has a showstopper. Meanwhile, though, same thing. Paint shells for Sadak. Flash about to become available for Kawadzin.
I think Finesse is waiting to hear that guiding light.
After he hears it, Kawadzin still watching towards the mail. The swing comes out, and Kawadzin wins it. Now the nades come up. Position given away by Victor. Showstopper already out. And the showstopper rang towards the right side, thinking that he could connect onto that one. But already sticking on to the spike. It's at halfway. It's not really planted for him. He sees it. Now it's and now he comes in for the 4 kill. And the Red Bull clutch.
Victor with the 4K ever since he's been back on this, back on the Raze, but on the Raze. He looks so comfortable. And we can see there, that was some I planned it for the paint shells, right? Just to the corner. But I also like it because, as you said, if it's red, you got to go for it. You see red, you shoot them dead. If it's blue, it's not true. They're not diffusing. So really well played just on the sight of the spike to know whether he had to push and get that frag right there on Sadak. 4-1 now to start off here for NRG. After losing the bonus, they take it right back to get a round that was planted and won after a successful plan. And Loud is not having any of this ramp control anymore. Less in mid either. And Artist goes down again to start the round for NRG.
Sheriff kill to start things off. Loud, as you mentioned, Riv, a triple push down towards the A ramp just to try to control Artist first. But Artist did meet his demise on that mid hit. You also see from the economy coming out from Loud. A couple of sharers coming in. Small shields for a couple of players, but Aspa staying with the shorty. They want to bring this operator out within the next round.
So Loud have great information on what's happening here due to Sadak's push, but this is a different one from Finesse and the rest of the team. They're taking a lot of that mid pressure first and trying to show a different look on this eco for Loud. So close, Sadak coming around. NRG had a lot of trouble against Furia with the eco rounds, losing about 4 or 5 maybe throughout the series. Oh,
Sadak down though, that's delays, paint shells too, showstopper out, but Victor runs right into him to deny that right away. And now the Seekers comes out too to identify the 3 players of NRG, where they're at, all towards the market. And look at the pacing, look at the rotation. You have to commit now into the A site. There's only 20 seconds left on the clock, and that's Sheriff holding out there. It's Aspas and Kawadzin. Aspas on the top of heaven, dropping down. Crossfire now set up. Paint shells coming out. 10 seconds left. And a shot comes in for Aspas as Victor was trying to jump in. Almost no time left. Crashies has to clutch it now, at least inside the site. But it's once again the Thrifties that plagues NRG as Loud puts up 2.
Haven't found that fix from last week yet, and Loud pierces through the defense. I'd say offense there of NRG. Beautiful shots all around. Less to start it off, right? You take away a part of that initiation that they have with Artist going in. I said, how are they going to stop Artist and Victor? Kill Artist first, 2 rounds in a row, and you'll see it come back in your favor. Great job there and great hold to the Sheriffs from Loud. We see exactly what they meant by we bring the best out of each other here.
Yep.
That was a hell of a round from Loud. Bring it within 2 here, still in the first half of this one. And right up goes Artist, but he's down to 21 already. He's gonna need that heal right away. So Victor becomes the tip of the spear now.
Second hope, Flamestorm available. Redemption to come back and turn around back in their favor. As we mentioned before, the operator is now ready for Loud, but it's far away out towards the B site. So NRG is taking the opportunity to get into A.
Finally in the site.
Does get the first kill at the Sadak. Now towards the back, Housing gets flooded. As Tom picks him off. That'll allow the plant to come down onto the attack.
So
juggling all the weapons around here, but they'll get the plant for energy.
we see why Loud has been playing a bit of a retake. Also, with the smoke and speed they played, they're expecting Aspas to have an op. He'll buy it on attack, he'll buy it on defense as he has here. And going that quick can easily shut down an operator. Also, not really wanting to retake with this amount of weaponry. It looks like they're gonna hold off in the save here, so Energy should grab another round. Just watch for the exits as they hold off. And really the momentum they were looking for, to see Energy have the slow rounds, but also be able to execute on the fast rounds. I think we're getting Loud thrown off a little bit. And Aspas Artis still finds himself going down. Unlucky on that.
Still trying to go for the chase, the hunt. Trying to take down the operator, but it's not going to happen. You don't want to lose too many weapons here on Energy's side, because it was an expensive round that they invested into this one. Thankfully, though, they get the round off a nice execution behind the Seekers, pushed out by Crashies, allowing these picks to happen inside the A site.
Finesse as well to be coming up on Viper's Pit soon, as this actually calls a Loud timeout. The operator is here, so they might be able to go a little harder, because this leads into Bladestorm next round. Obviously, Loud wants this, but they have some answers to if anything goes wrong with the weaponry. It's just, they have not been able to source Energy in the beginning. Like, talking about how Loud's pushing mid, not finding anything, Energy's not there. They're working the other side of the map every time Loud pushes. Then when Energy wants to go ramp, it's usually where Loud has put less number. Finesse is orchestrating a game plan right now around Loud's defense that is immaculate. And Loud's really been able to find this if they're coming out first, finding a first kill quick on Artis, and trying to get their hand in the mix quicker. Jeez. What a start to this game, though. 5-2 here for Energy. And Fraud's going to go ahead, try to sort the team out.
And then with that, it's trying to figure out what we could do with the operator as well. You've mentioned Finesse so far having all the time in the world to really call out the right sites to hit, getting the right opportunities to get these plants at least, getting some of them successful. But where you don't give him room to breathe, if you're able to activate Aspas now, getting aggressive angles on the operator, you could see him playing off angle maybe at the start up towards the A ramp, but for Energy, they're pinging this A site, trying to find some sort of trap play and initiation for a push inside A, but there's 3 players from Loud waiting there.
All 5 surprise from NRG here. Towards ramp. This is the first time we see Victor go straight up.
Oh, and the judge, it misses.
Does he expect the second?
Fully stunned out of that one too. The second one's behind the boxes, but the rest of Energy decide to move back inside to the A ramp. Aspas gets picked off by Victor. We're still trying to fight back towards the A ramp though. There's still Kawadzine and less. Looking for a timing when this orb comes down to flash for the double swing. Meanwhile though, we've taken our time for Energy to really get into the site. And the plant now comes down. A fake flash, beautifully done. As Les picks up the kill onto the in-game leader of Energy. Plant finally comes down, and that gave a lot of time for the rotate for Loud to happen. 3 players now all grouped up. Some still waiting. W Streamer indeed, watching that rotation, pushing down towards the E ramp. But for Loud, look at them. Always hesitating, moving into the site. The 1v1! W Streamer!
Content.
And with that, you see the rest of the players of Loud deciding to pull back, doing the El Clasico once again, but this time coined by Leviathan.
As this round ends, 5-5 on 5v4 conversions here. This one started off Victor blast packing up ramp. Loud has been seeing, not Aspas, Artis there first, right? So they're expecting to hear a dash, not the blast pack. And even with 2 guarding ramp, Victor identifies 1 kill and that there's a second player there. Everything is working out. Right into the site, Victor's still helping through the smokes. Incredible stuff right now. Energy dominating the gun rounds, dominating their post plans, successful on every one of them so far here against Loud. The retakes just have not been there. Loud once again on a lower buy. Let's see if Energy plays this one slow enough to stave off the eco. There's the pick coming out from Les. So they instantly try to control mid. Not an area that Energy's really even wanted throughout the game.
Yeah, but at least you're trying to funnel towards extremities.
Exactly.
What a peek out by Artis. And that's an open site now for Energy to plant. Sadak trying to do something. But Energy are just all over the site. Bladestorm out from Aspas. Behind the Nebula as Artis is looking to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe against him. Decides to pull back to make sure nobody pushes towards spawn. Looks like Crashies may have spotted the ponytail of Aspas. So you still have a player watching that mid. That's Cowdzine upgrading to another weapon. And Aspas looking to make a play. Both of them now grouped up, no flash available. It takes 3 seconds for that to come through. And as we drop down, at least gets traded out. A 3 versus 1. But once again, Planet for long, you have everything into your favor for NRG. Even Crashies coming in from the spawn. And that's 7 rounds to 2 for NRG to kick off split.
Every single player on NRG is just like a stick of dynamite right now, flying in, hitting their shots, catching Loud off guard in positioning, and just being so explosive. It seems like Loud was ready for an NRG game that took a lot of the round, where FNS needed that time, where you'd see a bit more of what NRG wanted to do before they actually execute onto the site. Right back to this full buy with the operator in the hands of Aspas, and he's in a very dangerous position, but this is where he's gonna have to put himself if he wants to start getting that first kill on NRG. Has a double duelist right around the corner that can explode again.
No flash on his support. It's just gonna be a walk across. Showstopper out. Aspas makes it away though.
How is he alive?
Back out with the op. Coin to be able to re-peek whenever he wants, but Artist comes around the back. Headshot as he falls, but there's another player that made it through. Sneaking behind enemy lines, has made it towards health, runs across for the first kill onto Crashies, but it gets traded out once again. Artist is on fire this time around. 3 kills into the round, leaving Cowdzine in less. The last 2 players standing. Nice little flash out by Cowdzine, but you still have the fundamentals for Loud. Back to a 2 versus 1, but the pit is still up. Les has to walk inside of this if he wants to try to clutch it. But it might be a different story. That op is also in sight, left by the new boxes. He's just gonna decide to stay by the ropes.
Yeah.
Also decide to save his weapon, to swing out. Storm doesn't allow him to save at all, and NRG continues to look very clean into this game. Look at this. 5 make that even 6 on 6 on post plants now, converting every 5 versus 4. Maybe it's just another one of those storylines. Once again, yes, maybe we have the Thrifties that's plaguing NRG, but Loud, another slow start.
And rounds 3 and 6 were the rounds that Loud won. That means NRG has reset Loud twice when they want to go for a full buy. Then they're just left out with nothing for the next rounds, and NRG starts to run away with 2, 3, now 4 as we get into round 11 here. So they tempt ramp. Wow. Loud's ready to throw all of this utility in. And they're happy to receive it. That could have just been a guiding light on Finesse, which is why they play slow, right? So they're trying to make Loud think that this might just be a solo lurk here. Spike's still down, and we're back to that second round strat that NRG continued to run. Helps them get into a flow state for the round for sure, and then we see Victor and Artist just pop onto the site. Do they play contact this time?
Almost even a fake.
Very different.
Contact, a walk up from Cowdzine.
So different.
And Artist picks him off, the first blood once again for NRG. Meanwhile, though, both players are still moving inside the A site. Look at how we're still moving around our map, though, for NRG. No rotates coming as of yet for Loud either. It comes down to Aspas and trying to anchor towards screens.
Wow.
Up drop coming out from Artist, trying to land that shot midair.
I have the spike.
We do have the fallback from Aspas. Spike now picked up, and the rest of NRG now joins into the push. Onto the A site. Victor satcheling in, making sure that nobody's able to push out towards the window. Nice little smoke coming down too. And another clean plant.
Yeah, such a good plan, especially with the way that NRG's exiting towards the ramp area. Having a few members there, really easy to shoot from that position as you retake from the offending side, or attacking side, I should say. Great molly.
Both of them now pushing out from the screens. Aspas connects onto Artist. Pushing out towards the elbow, upgrading onto weapons, but these players are so low at the bottom of elbow. That's Aspas and Sadak trying to move forward. Sadak is the first to fall. Look, the clock's still ticking down. We still haven't made it inside the site. Finally, there's only one left. It's Victor looking everywhere that he can. And finally, we have a retake coming in for Loud.
Yes.
Enough time for the defuse. As they're trying to stop the bleeding as early as possible, and it takes now round 11 to get the third.
Yeah, as you said, Loud's first retake of the map, and That's really weird to say. You almost have to double check yourself when you say it. You're like, really? Yep, actually it is. There's the defuse. Wow. Incredible stuff. And I think Loud is one of the teams, maybe the #1 team with the highest post-plant success here.
Enemy remaining.
So, not sure if they're going to be able to use that once they get to the other side. But right now, the retake success is on the low number. 8-3, possibly a 9-3 here. It would look like a blessing as well for NRG with the speed they're doing it. Straight to mid, one of the first times they go fast on this. And Victor with the spam as Artis becomes just the fly on the wall. They still go. These last few rounds to switch it up have been completely different. A contact into A, one of the first or second rounds they run through mailroom. What a clean first half here from NRG. Still, the retake to happen, a lot of ults to be used from Loud.
That's Seekers and a Showstopper from Kawadzin and Sadak. Plan about to come down, and Seekers are coming out early. Duel lost here by Crashies as Aspas is trying to clear back the space, dashing away, and Finesse also made it away. Now Seekers with a Showstopper trying to get onto the pillar. A flash to allow a peek to come out towards spawn. But Loud still haven't initiated yet. Some winning at the B main, coming head-to-head against Sadak and Aspas. He loses the first fight here, but it's up to Victor once again. Showstopper out. Finesse lurking out towards the garage. Showstopper misses, but it's back to 1v1. Paint Shells out, but Finesse is there! Paint Shells could come out, and that's NRG with 9-3 on the first half of split.
Switching sides.
Finesse leading us into the second half with a nice frag there. The calls were great. They have a 9-3 lead over Loud, and Loud's gonna have to come out swinging in the second half.
Well, they're gonna have to do something very quick here, Riv, because it seems as though NRG really had the control of that first half all along. They set the pace, even though it's been slow rounds, moving through, connecting everything that they have, reading the map correctly too. And all the amounts of first bloods they're able to get and also convert into those has been this story so far for NRG. And that's also thanks to those duelists. And speaking of duelists, following last week's win over Furia, we spoke with Finesse about the importance of the duelists and their impact on the flow of the game. So let's check it out.
Just giving the duelists good starts. Aspas is a perfect example of a player that when you give him a start that's basically explosive, you give him that 10-1 start, 10-2, and you kind of just let him get the kills and you kind of let him run you down without disrupting. It just snowballs for them, and they're able to just dominate through that because other players feed off of that. If my duelist is hitting every shot, I'm gonna hit every shot, you know? So it's one of those things where I think if we're able to stop the duelists, which is a huge problem for us today, if we're able to make that slow shift in disrupting correctly, it'll make it a lot harder for them to win.
So there's a great quote from Saucy when he was on Loud that came from an Esports GG interview with Blake. Saucy said, Aspas is just a simple guy that wants to headshot people. He'll pick and choose Jet, and then me and Sadak try to make everything comfortable for him. That's exactly what continues to happen. Get that up in Aspas's hands, let him try to get the first kill, but facilitate him or supplement him with as much utility as you can.
Yeah, but the issue is right now is, yes, you're trying to activate Aspas, but it's currently at 6-8.
He is.
And that's exactly what Finesse was just talking about too. How can we shut down these star duelists coming out from Loud? And they've done it great so far. You've seen some duels coming out from Crashies winning against them. Artis getting some great picks too. Not allowing Aspas to even be activated on retakes either. They've also done a great job avoiding Aspas when it comes down to these sight hits from NRG. But now they take the defensive half. Yeah. Loud also has an opportunity to answer back because now they have double duelists on the attack too.
And there is a lot of that double duelist action coming in. It feels like Finesse said, hey, there's no way they stop this every time. We can source the information as we fly into sight, and they did it multiple times. Only going mid a few times with a contact into A. So while they varied up that same strat, Cloud still couldn't figure out that it was basically starting the same and ending the same. Really tough stuff, but now it's Loud's turn to get this one. They have the frenzies out. We see them on both sides, almost a mirror buy here. If Finesse didn't want to get all that utility and that armor. Walls on A. Action towards mid to start us off. And look at that. Double vent, 3 mid overall here. Does NRG want to just stop Loud's first attack?
Good luck, Sapphire, with the observing, because we had a lot of frenzies for mid control, and that's Victor with the first blood onto Sadak. Nice snake bite on the ground to prevent any type of aggression coming out and follow behind that initial push coming out from Sadak.
Victor just get another kill through smoke? Gosh, kind of wild how much he does that. The pings come out, they saw him up there.
Exactly. He's already pinged out, trying to make sure that they cover the grounds too.
In the B.
But Som is also there for the support. Yes, there's a trade-off there. He's holding in the back, avoiding the gravity well. Head-to-head soon against Aspas. Maybe a double swing with him and Tui's, as it just spotted his opponent crossover
Spikes
towards
down.
the pillar.
They have to get it.
Les, meanwhile, does get the pick onto Artis. There's a big flank coming in from Garage, too.
Trade.
Delayed enough to allow Crashies to get the quarterback sneak.
And that's what we're looking at.
Still trying to get this spike. Oh, that's timing, though! Les protects his teammate as Tui's almost got picked off. 22 HP left. Only the El Clasico in the hands of Finesse as Les saves the round for Loud.
Incredibly big round for Loud. They need to start off strong. They need to carry through strong. With the way that NRG was stealing back just 1 round wins from Loud to reset the money, they cannot afford to have this give and take. It's NRG winning by the time you even try. Some low buy still. Les is actually, is he buying? He's just staying. They want to be able to go for bigger money. Is that Aspas is up as we come into the next round maybe? And Les will be getting a that Spectre.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Interesting buys. They're working with the economy here for Loud.
Would also be interesting if we see that coming out on the attack here from Aspas.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I know, they have an opportunity to do that, right? If you do want to have Sadak creating that space and have Aspas follow up. Let's try to attack from the long range.
See how Loud can source this information today. It looks like they actually might walk right into the majority. Nice util use. They actually find Finesse. And this just looks like it's going to be a B drop in again. Once more water falling into the site, and they still have a little bit of main and garage control to take care of here before they set up.
Finesse still trying to get a timing. Finding, oh, okay. Another kill through the smoke. Courtesy of Victor, and Finesse is walking in. Oh, but they both pull out of the W at the last second.
How's he alive? No way!
Down, but there's support there from NRG. 2 players pushing through, and somehow this comes back in favor of the defenders. Aspas on a 2 versus 1, and Victor cleans the last kill. A 50 round answered back by NRG.
I said Loud needed to carry those through. Not let NRG carry. Oh my gosh, they get their eco. They get the thrifty in. That is so big for NRG, especially just to get that mental pressure onto Loud. Vans, I think we all remember when Sadak said, playing against Finesse is an emotional roller coaster. The game against him almost brought me to tears. It's, you know, it's different here with the pressure of the league, but I gotta expect that he's still feeling the Finesse pressure right now. That's wild.
And with that round loss, no operator out for Loud. It's a Vandal instead for Les. And buying evenly here, trying to get pressure up towards the A-Ram. Victor's dancing around, fully blinded, still manages to get the kill onto Aspas with support from Crashies.
Just wild.
Continuing to be the dynamic duo up towards the A site. And this mixed buy is fully denied. Only that Vandal, the hero rifle comes out, only for 1 kill. And NRG are solidifying, inching close to a very strong victory on this first map of Split.
They're kind of doing a deja vu of what Loud did to NRG in the 13-3. This 11-4 is a little different, but now that that comfort pick has come back onto the side of NRG, we heard Finesse talking about it on the desk last week. They had roll fiasco a little bit. That switch after the Cloud9 game shored everything up. Have not lost sense, and it looks like they may be able to take the Loud right here on the first map. So Loud actually separating themselves into the exact same scenario we saw NRG playing on the attack side. NRG still focusing more of the members on this defensive side of B. And Victor with Showstopper has had such an incredible game. His past series have been incredible, and he just keeps going.
For a split second, I thought I was watching NRG move up towards the A-Ram, doing exactly the same thing as he did, but this time around, Kawadzine does get the spray through the toxic screen and drops Crashies.
Back through sewers. I don't think Loud even, besides Crashy, have too much information off of that. All right, Aspas and Sadak are going to be the front on this, but this time they do not have that garage control. It has been open for the most part, and now Artis has made a home there as the team rotates over. Looks like Loud will have a plant here on the site.
Ooh. Artist wants to give up the B site. NRG wants to give up the B site as well because they could retake the site with the showstopper.
They're not safe to plant.
So controlling Garage is huge. Pressuring back towards Garage is going to be important for Loud as well to try to shut down Artist. There's that swing back across and he wins it.
How do they do this to teams? How does NRG just stall a team when everyone's in sight from planting?
Les is back up though as he gets 2 of his own. Advantage swing back over to Loud as it's once again Les turning around over the advantage of the attack. With the low HP with Artist at 3, puts Kaotzine down at 15. Both of them pulling back on a post-plant advantage for Loud. And not being able to capitalize on any kills so far on that flank. It means here that the last 2 players for Victor and Artist, the 2 duelists that we just talked about before, that we've been praising on their attack, will have to save their weapons into the next.
That must be so stressful for Loud in sight. We have this looming presence from NRG, but they handled it really well. Everybody making sure, since they didn't have that garage control just yet with Tui's going down, that they were focusing that. They were behind new box hiding and still someone in sight. So it looked super sketchy, and it was. Okay.
That's sketchy too.
Yeah, I think a gun drop maybe, and then go down, but yeah, it just really well played there by Loud in the tightest of moments that looked like they could have just been squashed out by every member of NRG coming in. That's what we need to see from them. Less now with the pit. If they can get themselves quickly to sight, they get that down and they can control quite a bit more here. So it actually looks like they won't be going for that op on attack. They want these guns. They want to be able to get straight in, not just have it be a Sadak. Aspas needs to be on the front line too. And he's not going to be no-scoping everybody. It happens sometimes. We have the 5K marshals.
Exactly.
No-scoping, but
maybe it doesn't shoot us faster.
They're playing it safe. Bring back the chamber for him. He'd still play Jet, honestly. Timeout here for NRG. Chet getting time to talk, but also this gives Fraud time to chat with the team, and I'm sure he's very glad about that right now. Getting these next few rounds, and even to figure out what is troubling the team in this half. You know, you're never just thinking about the next game until it is the next game, but here is sourcing out what are the issues. Is it just fundamental peeking? Is it getting into the site and getting ready for post-plant? NRG seems to be able to dismantle everything that Loud is currently bringing to the table.
And Fraud's always been very good at taking advantage of these timeouts, rather.
Yeah.
Remember last time on this map on Split, when they had to play against 100 Thieves, an important timeout allowed for them to win that matchup against said 100 Thieves in overtime. This time around, though, it's a steep uphill battle that they have to take coming out of this timeout. Trying to keep their perfect record going into the VCT Americas so far. And we have the operator out from this timeout. Not in the hands of Aspas, it's onto Artist. The glass cannon moving down towards mid. A flash, but he's not activating his dash yet. Aggressive, confident. The jump out now, activates the dash, and that Sadak is going to be like, okay, I'm going to wait a bit. I'm going to wait a bit on that one.
Different setup by NRG here, as they only leave Finesse towards the right side of the map. Feeling that love Loud's been putting towards mid and mailroom. Put all the numbers in. A quick clear, I don't think that's, yeah, it actually saw Tui's. Tui's has been here for the majority of the time, so whether that gives confident information to NRG or not is up to them. And here's the push in, Aspas all the way through. They're gonna expect this. Oh, he saw close, he saw the barrel.
Shorty close, some can connect, back into the Vandal, pushing Aspas away. Still survives, looking for the heal here from Crashies. But the satchel was close. But the pain shells still landing behind him. Back towards the screens. Victor looking for a timing move back towards the lower ramp, and this allows for this backstab to happen thanks to the spray from Crashies. The trigger discipline to let out the 2 and a spike.
Wild.
Spike down A.
All this focus because you have Artist pushing around. It's not a fake. Keep going forward. Victor could just focus on his targets. Now they look for Crashies.
13 seconds left. Aspas looking for that 1 versus 1 inside
10
screens.
seconds left.
Now as the spike is moving inside sight, Artist is trying to get the timing there. Delays off the pain shells, but it's too far behind. Artist manages to come in for the flank, though it's up to 2 versus 1. And Artist picks up the Vandal for the kill.
Picks up the op at the end, too. Make sure to get that in. The defuse comes through. Crashies 1 away from ult after this Blade Storm for Artist. Things are looking great for NRG here on a 12-5 first map versus undefeated Loud. Like I said, NRG has just been on a tear since the switch, since that Cloud9 play,
30 seconds left.
running through Crew, 100 Thieves, Furia, and now possibly the top of the list. After EG's game, when I interviewed Ethan, I said, hey, there's games going on that are coming up. You have NRG, MIBR, you're gonna beat both of them, but who would you rather face? He's like, NRG. I'm like, why? Because they're the best right now. Even with an undefeated team in the league, people are saying NRG is the one.
Even at a team that started like, what, 1-3 or something into the Americas.
Yeah, 1-3 start.
Still considered to be the #1 team in the Americas. And of course, we mentioned it before, we have a packed arena right here in the Riot Games Arena, thinking the same thing. Fans thinking also that NRG are at the top of the charts here for VCT's Americas. But now, time is pressing for Fraud. Another timeout being called out. Let's see if you can work the magic. Your energy is upside down, chat.
It happens. It's the excitement, okay?
It has been quiet, though, even though you have a 12-5 lead for NRG here. Because you know it is still a team like Loud that could always fight back against the wall.
Super low buy for this one.
There's Blade Storms available.
Yeah, a few more things to think about on how they can use that Blade Storm, how they can finally get this pit from Les, right? That gets into the site and gets used. A lot of the times they've got in and it looks like a secure. They're holding the site, going to be solid, and they lose it. So I think obviously you use it here. No way. Artist pushes through the smoke to get a ramp. Okay. All right. They're out of their mind right now, and they're trying to kick Cloud right off the top of the pedestal.
That's some Moss best things right there, and even a flash allowing for the defenders to pull back, continuing their player advantage. Blade Storm not connecting onto a kill here for Aspas. As Loud has to rethink the round back into a mid control.
Still, they're in like a default defensive setup formation, right back to positioning after taking down Les. No over-rotating, positions covered everywhere. How does Loud get through this, right? Both sides, Finesse has done a wonderful job here, as well as Chat and the team, just to organize the destruction of Loud on split.
The thing is that we've used a little bit of utility towards mid for NRG, but not too much coming in from the B side. So Loud still doesn't know how many players are stacked here inside B. So for the defensive side, you do have a little bit of breathing room, knowing that you have teammates to support here on Crossfires. And there's that initiation. There's that first kill coming out from NRG. Even the Crossfires and the trades are perfect. Leaving out Tui's last player standing, spotted by the Seeker, fully blinded, now with the Bulldog. And the Blade Storm even comes out. He's stunned by the Trailblazer, getting pushed in. Here's the reload, back in natural form, and Crashies closes the first map as NRG dominant one on split. 13-5 victory over Loud.
An absolutely incredible game from NRG. You can't say anything different. That was so clean to be able to shut down Loud as they did, playing to the level of their opponent and then some, Van Silly. Absolutely incredible. Victor, 6 and 5. Or 6, I'm sorry, on First Bloods. Had 5 plants himself as I just look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I'm so used to our stats there. I'm like, oh, that's kills in First Bloods. No, 6 First Bloods. Artist, 5 First Bloods. Yeah, you can see what the spear of this team does. It's a double-headed spear. It hurts even more.
But the 5 you're talking about, though, is actually a good call here for plants, because the game plan here for NRG is not only going in for diving in for kills, it's also forming these ult orbs for Victor. Off on plants, not even on orb control. And they've done a great job here of holding off these pulse plans, staving off the pulse plans too.
It's been an incredible season for Loud. They've given us everything so far except the loss. Loud are undefeated. It's not like they haven't been tested in some of these matches right now being tested. It's been incredible how they identify win conditions and scenarios, Van Silly, with whatever they're presented with here. But it looks like NRG was able to get through that defense and the confidence Loud uses to come back in the game.
And it has been difficult for Loud. Only 1 in 10 on retake attempts and retakes. And this story may continue now on to Pearl, where the last time these two teams faced off against each other, it was the victory for NRG. Can it continue? We'll find out after the break.
Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a racing car, passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, there's no stopping me. Stop me now, I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball.
Red Bull gives you wings.